welcome back to the channel. Today we're going over the top 10 undervalued Scarlet and Violet illustration rares. As you may have seen on the channel, I've started to post non-opening videos with card suggestions on what cards to purchase for your collection. I've been enjoying creating these videos and I'm going to continue, but I also want to let you all know that I'm not quitting with the opening or battle videos. Those will continue to appear on the channel, but not as frequently. So with that out of the way, let's dive into it. The reason I decided to focus on illustration rares today, or IRs for short, is that the market has been flocking around these cards over the past few months. People love the beautiful artworks that focus on a single Pokemon, such as Eevee or Pikachu, while showing off a unique interpretation of the Pokemon itself. Take a look at this Sudowoodo card, or this Pikachu card. You can see the nature of the Pokemon in the way they are depicted. In the show, Sudowoodo is a shy and mischievous Pokemon. Having it pose as a tree is a fun way of displaying these traits, while also showing off the design of Sudowoodo. In fact, there are scenes in the show where Sudowoodo intentionally disguises itself as a tree to escape some Pokemon hunters. On the other hand, Sprigatito is a lazy and relaxed Pokemon that has the ability to release floral scents through its paws. The card embraces this characteristic and ability, showing off Sprigatito in a natural way. Obviously, people love this idea and want to elevate the collection with these illustration rares. Plus, they are available in larger quantities and are easier to find and purchase in special illustration rares. Most regular Scarlet and Violet sets have a chance of pulling 2 to 3 illustration rares per box, while special illustration rares may take more than a single box to pull. That's not even considering pulling a specific card. So today, let's check out my top 10 undervalued Pokemon illustration rares. Number 10 is Hisuian Growlithe from Twilight Masquerade. Being from the second latest set, the card has had some time to adjust in value, and I believe it is actually quite undervalued. It's a beautiful artwork. Yes, it was a Pokemon introduced during the Arceus Legends game, a Pokemon game that focuses on ancient Sinnoh, a time which was not ever reflected in the actual show, but was a really fun game to play. And particularly, this Pokemon doesn't have any other crazy artworks apart from this particular one, making a unique card for the moment. Additionally, this card is a connected artwork. It has a counterpart, which is the parent special illustration rare from the very same set. Another gorgeous card with a photographer where you can see in the actual lens of her camera this particular Growlithe staring up into the lens. A very cool card. I believe quite underrated in value. All of these cards that I'm going to be showing, except for one, are going to be under $15, so pretty accessible in terms of Pokemon products, Pokemon cards, because you could, rather than buying a single blister, buy one of these cards and end up having a pretty nice collection over time if you stop buying the 3-pack blisters, for instance, and maybe just pick up these cards. So let's take a look at the trajectory of this card, and you'll see that it's actually been quite stable. Ignoring this sort of pre-release high, if we look at the general trajectory of the card once it came down, it has been a very slow climb, which is being ever so often dropped and risen again. As you all can see, it's nothing too crazy in terms of value. The growth, about $3, not even, and yet it remains under $10. If we exclude this particular sale, which is, in my opinion, a bit of an anomaly for now, if we look at the latest near mint sales, we have ourselves pretty much under $12, close to $10 in my opinion. Now, if we look at this card, ignoring this sort of pre-release time frame, we're seeing pretty much a reasonable trajectory. It is going upwards, but it is nothing crazy in terms of growth. We have gone from 790 to about 960, which is a reasonable growth. The card will continue to move up and down here and there, but right now I believe this is a steady low for the card, which will see spikes in the future, especially as parent special illustration rare catches more steam. It is currently the 3rd highest valued card in that set, and for good reason. A gorgeous card, a gorgeous artwork, and it has shown no signs of slowing down. When people have collected parent, they will want the second part of that full artwork. Number 9, 8, and 7 are cards that I'm going to bundle together because of their common nature in terms of the reason I believe they should be invested in. This is going to include Quaxly, Fuecoco, and Sprigatito. These 3 Pokemon are all the starters from Gen 9, are found in Paldea Evolved, and have 3-part artworks for each of the starters. These cards are really amazing choices to invest in, having shared artworks of the starters in any set And in any generation, the starters always merit a certain amount of attention, and people generally enjoy collecting them because of their connection. A lot of people love to see the main characters carrying one of these starters, Dawn with her Piplup, for instance, or May with her Torchic. Now we have Liko with Sprigatito and Roy with Fuecoco. These are Pokemon that we really get connected to and attached to from the show. And when you play the game, obviously you choose one of the starters, so there's another reason why you feel that connection to these Pokemon. Obviously, when you have cards, you want to collect these Pokemon. See them physically in your hands, these cards that reflect your favorite characters. If we look at the prices of these three cards, they are generally under 15. They are all under $15, but also generally in a reasonably priced position. In my opinion, Quaxley and Fuecoco are both pretty good deals right now. Fuecoco is on the move upwards. Quaxley has been at a steady sort of price after it hit its high at 724. It's been moving down slowly, and I believe will either level for a while or go down a bit, but eventually, in my opinion, shoot back up, especially as the illustration rares become older and harder to grab, especially as Paldea Evolves is so in demand these days because of the Magikarp, Raichu, and Tyranitar that are incredibly expensive as illustration rares in this very set. And I'm not even talking about the Iono special illustration rare and all the other special illustration rares in the set. It is a stacked one, for sure. And considering that these illustration rares all have a connected artwork, Quaxley going all the way to Quackable, Fuecoco all the way to Skeletors, and Sprigatito all the way to Meowscarada. Now, as I've shown, Quaxley has potential to level out or even go down a bit. Fuecoco is a card that people have started to recognize. It's been moving up slowly and steadily. Looking at the past 6 months, we have seen a growth from $9.78 to $12.21. Now, these cards do have a tendency to bounce up and down, obviously, because it's only been a year since the cards are out. It's not necessarily in a stable spot, but because illustration rares are being bought out in incredible fashion, we'll see that these cards are actually being listed for higher and higher values, and they are also being sold dramatically for dramatically more. Now, as you can see, these are mostly Japanese artworks. This one excluded, but it could honestly be Japanese. We can't see the picture anymore, unfortunately. But we are seeing the sort of $10 to $11, even $12 range, $10 to $12 range. And I believe this card only has sky as the limit. It can continue to move up, especially as special illustration or in these lines start to grab more attention. Finally, we have Sprigatito showing a similar trajectory like Fuecoco, but with much less variance in its value. It's pretty much a steady climb. I believe it has potential to take a rest at some point, maybe even go down a little bit before moving back up. I believe it might even hit $20 at some point. This card is certainly deserving of it, as I've shown in the earlier stages and explained. This card, this Pokemon, it's part of Liko's team. It is her first ever Pokemon, and obviously people will learn to know it at least from its significance in the show. Next up, we have ourselves Slowpoke, a really unique artwork in my personal opinion. A card that focuses less on the Pokemon, yet focuses it completely on it. This is a weird juxtaposition that I'm talking about, but we have a setting that's very neutral, calm, relaxed, very much like Slowpoke, with it slowly walking out of this garage or kitchen as the door continues to move up. As you can see, the door is almost all the way open and it's only stuck 2 arms out. Very slow, dopey expression, a cool Pokemon from the show. As you may remember, there's this funny scene between Slowpoke and Psyduck, and the reactions take an entire day practically to experience. So it's a really funny Pokemon, and here you can see the relaxed sort of state of the entire art. But you also realize that Slowpoke pops out in this artwork because of its color. It's a really nice card, unique artwork. You don't really see too many of these. A lot of the illustration arts are chaotic and colorful, and so much stuff is happening in it. This is definitely not one of those cards, and it's a really nice one to focus indirectly on Slowpoke. Price has been fluctuating dramatically for this particular card. It actually hit a low of $5.92 at one point, which I believe is one of its lowest ever. Yes, it is. And it continues to climb, but relatively stays around this $7 to $8 margin. It doesn't shoot too much up beyond that, and that makes it a very nice card to hold on to for value. Even if you feel like it might not skyrocket, if you like the card, I believe it's a great card to pick up around now because it is definitely going for a good price. It is not going to drop dramatically because it's been a while since this set came out. The number one, the first ever Scarlet and Violet set, and it definitely holds a place in people's hearts. For that reason, base sets always do. This is a great card that definitely won't drop dramatically, and if you take the risk, it even has the potential to go up. Definitely a cool card to keep an eye out for, and don't miss it when you have the chance to grab it. Next up, a card that I explained pretty much earlier, the Sudowoodo card. I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but as you can see, it's hiding here amongst the trees. Really nice artwork, and it might even take you a second to find it if you don't know what Sudowoodo looks like, but a really, really cool card. Also, a line of trees going over here. The price is pretty reflective of what people believe this card to have value in the sense that it's been going up over the entire year. Just shot up really from 5.75 all the way to $10, nearly doubling in value, so 75% growth. And I don't believe it has a downside in getting this card at $10 because there's a Heracross card in Paleo Evolved, and I don't think it is as cool as the Sudowoodo, nearly as deeply, intimately attached to the show. And in my opinion, the Heracross, although maybe a more loved Pokemon, still doesn't have that same effect in its artwork. A very similar one to Sudowoodo, but it's also more expensive, and I think this Sudowoodo card can easily catch up to it if we take a look at reason, even if we're not taking a look at the numbers necessarily at the current time. Number 4, we have ourselves Chansey from Twilight Masquerade, a card that I believe could have been easily inserted into the 151 set. It has so many OG Pokemon here, and without Blissey in it, it honestly could have been, because we have ourselves Snorlax, Bellsprout, Psyduck, and Ditto, not to mention Chansey, walking around doing some chores for Nurse Joy, most likely in the Pokemon Center, an iconic duo from the show. We always see them at every turn until about Black and White, where they decide to switch to Autono, but until then, it was always Chansey. And we also know that Chansey was in the base set, one of the original holos. There's another reason why you might be partial to Chansey. So there's so many reasons why this particular Pokemon and this particular card merit attention. Now, in terms of value, compared to a lot of the illustration rares, I believe it's quite reasonably priced. It's actually gone down, which is amazing. I am beyond thrilled because I wanted to pick up this card. I saw it going for around $20, and I was like, oh no, this is gonna go up. This is gonna go to like crazy heights, hit above 25 at least. But it started to drop, and I am beyond happy because let me tell you, as soon as I get the chance, I am going to a store and picking up this card because look at how incredible it is for $12. I mean, who can complain? Obviously, the listings are going up, so I would say pick it up sooner rather than later because I would not want to be the one to see this card shoot up to $20+ right when I'm seeing it for $12 right now. Great chance. The lowest it ever was $11, y'all. So we're not gonna see this card drop substantially below $8 in my opinion. If you want to wait it out, see if this card goes further, I'd say definitely consider it. I can see this card going down to 10, even $9. But apart from that, I would say just consider grabbing it for your collection. Cool card. One that will definitely brighten up your collection and will be something that you'll want to stare at for minutes at a time. Number 3 is going to be a card from Obsidian Flames. It's going to be Cleffa. Now, this card does not need too much explanation because the artwork speaks for itself. Take a look at the simplicity. A simple night sky reflected into this unreal watery setting where you have a shooting star blazing across the sky and Cleffa wishing upon it. And given Cleffa's backstory being a Pokemon from space, I think it was a wonderfully done card. I remember they used to talk about in the show how the Cleffa and its evolved form Clefable came from space, and it was a really cool episode. But I haven't really heard too much from about those Pokemon in the show after that. So that was the episode way back with May and Brock and Misty, and it was like forever ago when they're traveling in Ruby and Sapphire. I thought it was such a cool nod. It reminded me of that episode, and it has a special place in my heart. Anything that connects to the show So this was a particularly cool card. As you can see, it's been gaining value. It's been about over a year since this set came out, so we can definitely see it's found its place after this sort of under $5 spaz where it goes up and down a few cents. It really caught some fire and went up all the way now to $7.73. And I believe this is not the end for this card. It has more potential, at least to go to maybe $12, $13, a card that deserves it for sure. And as you might notice, the card is actually selling for a little bit over that market price of $7.93, going for about $8. Second to last, we have ourselves Ninetales from Obsidian Flame. This card is again another one that speaks for itself. A gorgeous artwork where you have the fiery tips of Ninetales' tails illuminated by the sunlight. And it's such a cool way to make it look like they're actually on fire without having to draw in any actual fire in the card. You have the little holes within the trees that make it look like their leaves caught ablaze. You can see the light streaming through those little holes and illuminating the floor. Parts of Ninetales make it look like specks of ember flying about. Nothing more to say about this card than that. A gorgeous artwork and one that has been catching attention and also respect from collectors, in my opinion. Has been moving up consistently. Another card kind of like Sprigatito, which has been sort of recognized and people are starting to realize that this is a really nice card, one that's undervalued. When you have the Raichu going for some crazy amounts like $45, I see this card as an amazing addition to the collection and one that is also one of the original 151 Pokemon. So there's definitely no reason to not like it because a lot of people, a lot of people adore Ninetales. Finally, we have ourselves Pikachu from 151. Now, I know I could have added Dragonair, I could have added Nidoking. There are a bunch of different Pokemon from 151 that could have warranted a spot in this set, but I decided to stick with one particular card from this set to highlight how incredible it is. It is the Pikachu from Scarlet and Violet. 151. Now, this card is outstanding. We have ourselves Gengar, Jigglypuff, Growlithe, Butterfree, Pidgey, Psyduck, Slowpoke, Blastoise, Mr. Mime, the Nidoran female and male. So many of the original Pokemon scattered about in this artwork. And of course, Pikachu bounding across the street. It made me smile as soon as I saw this card. I wanted it in my hand. And it took a solid 6 months or so to pull, but I finally managed to get it and it did not disappoint. In my hands, it was gorgeous. The gloss made each color so vibrant and marvelous to behold. And I love the unique artwork. You don't usually see this chibi-like artwork in Pokemon, but I love that they did it for this particular artwork. They've been doing some interesting different sort of aesthetics in 151, like that Mew SAR promo card from the UPC, and now this Pikachu. Those were really nice cards, and I have to say, I love them. They're amazing. And you can see that the price has not really jumped too much. I mean, in the sense that if you look at the median line, it's been pretty much around $19, $20 all this time. It drops occasionally to $16, $17, but apart from that, in my opinion, $18 to $20 has been a range where it's been pretty steady. If you want to purchase a card now, I don't think you'll be too hurt by it, but if you want to wait, which I think is definitely a good option, you could see it drop to at least 18, maybe even below that dollars, and then I would say pounds. Grab it as soon as you can. It's an amazing card that won't stay this cheap for too long. You have the Charmander going for $30, the Bulbasaur, Squirtle, the Wartortles, and the Ivysaurs going for more than this Pikachu. And in my opinion, this Pikachu should be the second most expensive, if not the most expensive, illustration rare in 151. And if you all want to just have the card and not even worry about waiting for price and stuff, just grab the Japanese version. You see here is $6.25. I'm sure you can find it for less if you do bulk orders and such of different cards together. A really cool card. Don't miss out on it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Smash that thumbs up button if you did, and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below if you liked any of these particular cards and want to grab them for your collection, or if you already have them. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what cards you believe I missed or could have added, and I'll catch you all in the next